right, everybody, hello and welcome to the Phoenix International Speedway. My name is Nicholas Hall, and I'm going to be taking you through the action tonight. And boy, do we have some action here for you with the Mystic Racing League. Like I said, it's going to be a fun night tonight. We're going to go through a few of the sponsors for the Mystic Racing League. We cannot thank them enough. First one up is going to be Show It Off. Here at Show It Off, we have a very huge collection of inflatable rentals to choose from a basic bounce house rental to a complex obstacle course rental to maybe even a massive 45-foot inflatable water slide rental. Show It Off LLC offers more inflatables than any other company in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. We have THDesigns. You know, you don't. Yep. We have Wade Cycles, founded in 2021 to rebuild and modify motorcycles into baggers. We thrive on making customers happy and spreading our name so we can continue to grow. They used to be based out of Columbus, Indiana, but now located in New Market, Tennessee. They offer stereo systems, suspension work, body part modifications, and more. So don't forget to contact them for all of your needs. Now, Sofa News, dedicated to being your go-to source for engaging and thought-provoking stories from Mystic Racing League. Mission is to provide insightful news that captures interest and encourages discussions, navigating the fine line between fact and fiction. We aspire to be a leading voice in Mystic Racing League's media landscape, focusing on bold reporting and valuable insights that foster conversation. At Sofa News, we're passionate about keeping you both informed and entertained with each article we share. Whether it's the latest updates, surprising revelations, or diverse opinions that stimulate the thoughtful debate, we invite you to join us on this enlightening journey through the stories that truly matter. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the track here, getting ready. You can see all the drivers are here and ready to go. We're just waiting on that green light for us. You can see some of these beautiful liveries as they are starting to get ready for that formation lap. We can see we have the number 7 and 99 with Edward Scherer Jr. and Aaron Baum leading us off in that front row, followed up by Evan Janik and Isaac Wilson in the 3 and 4 spot. Beautiful 71 and 93 cars. Andrew Schob and Colin Bollinger in the 5th and 6th positions, followed up in that beautiful McDonald's and Slim Chickens with Rayshawn Winkfield and John Ullman in the 7th and 8th slots. Joshua Thornton and Aaron Espy here in the 9th and 10th slot, rounding out those first 5 rows. And heading into the 6th row, we have Alex Pollock and Gavin Hinson. Great Shell and Carabera's car. Isaac Brock, Andrew Allen in the 13th and 14th, both on the green. I like that green color, looks very nice. Aubrey Lord, Brandon Willard, 15th and 16th, beautiful Reese's. Can't go wrong with a good Reese's. Jared Knopsnyder and Adam Holston, 17th and 18th respectively. Tony Brennan, Caleb Hunt, Fast Man and Denver Mattress cars. Keep an eye out for those. You never know where they'll finish. Robert Mackey and David Moyer. Gotta love some good old Waffle House whenever you're hungry. Brett Rinn, Bradley Knopsnyder. 2 Knopsnyders on the grid tonight, going head to head at it. Christian Barnes and Keith Pittman here. Nice black and green, and then a very fancy overlay there onto that car. Zach White, Anthony Tripp here in the 27th and 28th lines. Then rounding out the racing tonight is going to be Joshua Gillen in the 29th car. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the starting grid for us this evening at the Phoenix International Speedway. All right, we have 140 laps. We're going to have 2 stages here. And then, of course, you got to make sure you hit those pit lane speed limiters to get to that 45 miles an hour. They do have 2 tire sets available to them if they should need it. And of course, it's a fixed setup in these stock cars, 65% fuel and unlimited GWC attempts. So pretty standard race for us tonight. We know what the everything that's coming out for us in terms of what the racers are given. Now it's just up to them to give us some excellent wheel-to-wheel racing action. We're gonna look to see some beautiful bump drafts, some good pushing from behind, and see how they decide to push through. As you can see, a little bit of wiggle, getting heat into these tires. It's nighttime. The track is gonna be cooler. You wanna get those tires heated up so you can get as much friction with them as possible. Rounding out this last bend here, heading into the dog leg before getting to that start-finish straight, we have the green flag, and away we go. That Dr. Pepper right into the beginning, going a little low, as we have a very widespread field going back up high along that, going into turn one, coming around the left. Too wide as they start to slide out, but oh, we have a massive wreck through the middle of the crowd already. Lap one and a caution with, it looked like at least 5 cars caught up in that. Gonna take a look now to see exactly what happened. It looked like initially, as I was looking through, the back bumper caught the front of one of the other cars and just turned them sideways. We're gonna look at this Denver mattress car here, the number 78. As they come around, they're on the outside. They barely miss out on that initial, but then go into the wall and hit as those cars were slowing. Very unfortunate timing for them, as we saw some of those other cars flash by. Just didn't have a good opportunity there. Did what they could to avoid it. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You're caught along for the ride, as now we're going to bunch back up and hope for a clean race restart as soon as everything gets cleaned up on track. Beautiful Dr. Pepper in the front there, number 97 in Edward Scherer, and then Evan Janik here in second place, whose sponsor is superoilpro.com. They sell AM soil products, and if you need any of those items, don't forget to go there, help out Evan Janik as well. As we look through the rest of the crowd, we have the number 99 coming up, or actually it's the number 8, though, with number 99 decals on that. Something to keep in mind as we look through this crowd. It's a nice little teal, white, and black going there. Really like that color scheme that's going. Easy to spot in a crowd of cars, which is always good whenever you're looking for some good liveries to look at. And then going into fourth position, we have Isaac Wilson, who's got through that cleanly. They were, I think, just above. I think it was probably the 7th or 8th positions that got caught up and everything and got shunted towards the back. So these first few cars started off strong. You could tell Edward Scherer there had a good run, just because of the caution. Now they're all bunched back up. Only lap 3, remember, of 140 laps. So starting to get back into these positions that for the restart here. They are going to be choosing whether they want the inside or the outside for Edward, and based on that position is where everybody else is going to go, and it looks like they've chosen the inside line for themselves. We'll have to keep an eye on, see how Aaron is going to be able to handle that position on the outside, see if they're going to be able to get a good run through to maybe pass up Edward there in that number 97 car. But we'll just have to wait to see, as there is no more safety car. You can see they've dove into the pits now. Everybody's getting up to racing speed here for our second restart of the night here on VSPEED on the YouTube channel. Thank you for everybody tuning in to this Mystic Racing League showdown at the Phoenix International Speedway. We're only on lap 4, as on the first turn we had a massive collision, and there we go. Edward Scherer taking a very short line through, making sure that they can stay ahead of Isaac Wilson at 93, but no, actually they did extend the yellow. I am, obviously everybody can see it just now, getting that information as well. Just making sure that everything is ready to go before we restart the race. Such a colorful crowd of cars we have tonight. Always fun to take a look at some of these wraps that we have over them. So we're going to go on board here with the lead car. Good little look into that Dr. Pepper car. Getting ready to round this dog leg. Remember, with Phoenix, it has a slight dog leg before this start-finish straight, incorporated from when they also had a road track through. As we are now green flag racing, everybody diving down before swinging out wide, trying to get the best run possible into this second turn. Still, as we get, ooh, that McDonald's is going a little outside, losing that back end just a little bit, but able to keep it strong, keep going straight. Here is a little bit of shuffling in the middle of the crowd, but nothing happening just yet. Back and forth with one of these. Keep an eye on that Reese's car. Always, you know, got to snack on some Reese's if you get hungry. Overall, looking good here. Running through very, you know, almost 3 wide in some of these turns, which is a little bit risky. If any one of those cars starts to get a little squirrely on you, you don't have much room in order to recover. So have to keep an eye on how well these cars are going to be able to control through. As we're going to go on board with Adam Holston as they start to make the turns through. This was last week's winner in the race, so something to keep an eye on. If they can continue the racing form and come out in first position tonight, they have a little bit that they have to work through currently in that 14th position, so got to climb up 13, but you never know. With 140 laps, still 132 to go, you never know what can happen here at the Phoenix International Speedway. Rounding into lap 9 now. Fast lap is going to be Edward Scherer with a 27-second lap. Just blistering through. This is only a mile-long track. Keep that in mind. So if you're used to some of these longer tracks, it is not one of those. It is very quick. As we have a car going wide in the back there. Purple car of the number 23. Adam Holston unfortunately just lost the back end and went into the barrier on the low end. We're going to go look at that just to see what happened. They come up. It looks good as they enter the turn. So far, so good for them. It looks like just a little bit of an error on the driver's part. Just a little bit too fast on the accelerator means that they lose that back end. Too much rotation through those tires without the grip necessary. These tires are still warming up because it is a slightly cool night. Whenever you know on this track, it does, you know, cause that grip to take a little bit longer to get up to the proper temperatures, as these tires are, they're not super finicky, but they do get there. As you can see here, the battle for 11th position between Rayshawn, Tony, Joshua, and Christian. As another caution comes out, we'll have to see what caused this caution. We didn't see it on screen at all, but I'm sure we'll get a replay of that as soon as we can. As getting word that it could potentially be Joshua Gillen that has the issue with their car, as it's already dirty from probably the earlier impacts of the crashes. Looking plain through here. We're going to flip through a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen, see if we can't find out exactly what happened. As through the start finish, everything looks good. As seems like we found it now. Take a look here. Getting close to the wall, but nothing quite there yet. As Reese's car getting awfully close. There it is. Yep, there it is. And that is going to elicit a caution into the field as they have to get their car off that racing line. As you can see already, cars having to avoid it and adjust. Now they do have what I believe to see was one fast repair for tonight. As you can see, that was a fast repair right there. So that's their one and done use. No more for them, as they'll have to run a much cleaner race. It was just unfortunate. It looked like it was a little bit too much on the brakes there. Threw them out of line and sent them up the wall. Unfortunate timings for them, as now they have to get back into the lineup. And not a bad pit stop time for Andrew Schob, 47.8 seconds there, I think is what I saw at quick glance before it disappeared. So already we can see a change up front with the leaders, with Edward Sherrick dropping to 4th position, Evan Yannick moving into that 1st position, making their sponsors always happy to see them up in the front. Overall, everybody looking really good. We've had a few incidents, but nothing too crazy happening. It happens a lot on these short tracks if you're not used to them. Just with how fast they go, these corners come up awful quickly, and you can't just always lay onto that gas pedal. As we are on here with Alex, with the beautiful driver cam, giving us a shot through what they're seeing as well in their car. Beautiful roll bars, as we have to say. Always got to keep safety in mind, as can never complain about safety here. We are going to get back to green flag racing. See some pushing already happening from that McDonald's. Diving back down into that lower apron before coming up, seeing if they can't get any extra seconds off of their lap time. Getting awfully close onto that 97. Is that green and black racing machine. Overall looking very, very good right now, lap 15. And it's going to come down to the skill of the drivers and how well they're able to command these cars. You know, because it's stock car, we're in the next gen cars. They can get a little squirrely if you aren't careful, if the setup isn't quite right. But overall, they are a much better addition over that previous gen car. And now, since they do get a little more squirrely, especially on these short tracks, you have to make sure that you are in line when you want to hit that gas or hit that brake. Otherwise, you can really get sent in some awkward positions that you don't necessarily want to be in. And at least with the banking through these corners, it's a 9-degree and an 11-degree, depending on the corner. You do have a decent amount of speed you can carry through some of these corners, but overall it's still gonna rely on the skill of the driver, on knowing how to feather those pedals just right. As we're taking a look here with Alan with their sim racing rig, you see just how concentrated they are on making sure they get every single one of these turns exactly where they want it to be. Just up and down throughout. Always a good time to see how these drivers have their setups. You know, if you're looking to potentially get into sim racing or get back into it potentially, it's always a good idea to see what some of these racers are using, so you can get some ideas of what you would like as well. As we move through here, this feels like one of our longer stretches of green flag racing as we look into the battle for 8th position with Rayshawn, Alex, Adam, and Joshua. Once again, they've moved up the battle from 11th to 8th. So that does feel very good, as the group of 4 is really moving their way through the field. And already we can see they're trying their hardest to get through there. It's going to be Jared now taking that 8th position away from Alex. As we actually have another caution, as the number 12 is sideways on the track. We'll get a look to see how that happened, but it doesn't look like there's any other cars involved, so it was probably just a forced error potentially, with cars riding up on their back end. We take a look at the Willard car here. Yeah, just too much gas. Oh, did catch out that 99 and put them into the wall, unfortunately. And they just got loose once again in that back end. And you know, when you go too fast onto that accelerator coming out of a turn, if you're still turning too much, it'll easily send your back end going sideways, and you start to fishtail, and there's just nothing you can do at that point. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break here as we wait for this caution to sort itself out. Once we're back to Green Flag Racing, you will find us here back again. So catch everybody on the flip side.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the Mystic Racing League here from Phoenix Raceway. Happy to have you with us as we're in the midst of Stage 1 here on VSPEED. Justin Prince with you, joining into the broadcast booth. My apologies on the delay coming into tonight's action. Nicholas Hall has been with you so far. DJ Line producing. Already coming up to the restart here so far. Nicholas, how would you describe the action as we come up to the restart zone?
It's been a really good action-packed race with lots of good battles up and down the docket tonight. The big thing, though, is cars are getting a little squirrely coming out of the turn so far. We've had, I think it was 3 different cautions just due to these cars just losing their back ends, and sometimes they collect another car, sometimes they don't. It's just the unlucky timing of short track racing.
Evan Janik, who is back tonight by his sponsor when it comes to SuperOil.com, leading around as the caution flag is around. More cautions. Aaron Espy amongst those going around this time for this yellow flag. And the yellows continue to build up early.
It once again, I think I saw that happen in the background as we're going to get the instant replay here. Coming out of the turn. Yeah, there it is. You can see it happen in front of the onboard here. Did get slightly collected, unfortunately, there. As gonna get another camera shot here. Justin, what do you make of short track racing on times like this whenever you're still so bunched up?
Well, I think we both know that it's hard to separate unless you get the caution laps, or rather the green flag laps to turn, right? And right now we're seeing cautions, precautions. In this case, close quarters racing like you expect to see on the restarts. In this case, some contact in turns 1 and 2 sparks things and brings at least 3-4 cars around.
And it looked like it might have been 2 separate incidences just right in front of one in front of the other that were separating, technically separated from each other, but also caused each other at the same time, or one caused the other while also being separate incidences. So interesting times here at the Phoenix International Speedway. You know, you do get that one quick fix tonight for each of these drivers, several of them already having to use it. So it's gonna have to keep an eye on those who potentially get caught up in an incident and don't have that anymore, how that might affect their race tonight, as the number 82 here is going to pull out of the pits of Jared Knopsnyder, pulling out of the pits to get back into the lineup to get ready to go for green flag racing.
Looks like they took the fast repair as we're getting set to go here for a few more laps. Maybe pacing, choosing this time by, and it looks like bottom side for Janik outside. Edward Schurer Jr. making his first start of the season. Edward, someone who has done pretty well in the officials over the years. Start outside front row. Should expect him contending throughout tonight. So we come to the race start. Tonight's action brought to you in part by Wade Cycles, founded in 2021 to rebuild and modify motorcycles into bankers. We thrive in making customers happy and spreading our name so we can continue to grow. We used to be based out of Columbus, Indiana, but we are now located in Newmarket, Tennessee. We offer stereo systems, suspension work, body parts, modifications, and more. Contact us at 812-345-2876 or 812-341-0764 for your needs. Getting set for the restart. Janik in control for the restart zone. Green flag is out, back it away. One car way to the outside already. Everyone else takes the dog leg.
And they are looking good coming through the dog leg right now. Nothing too crazy happening, at least on this restart, as it seems like the restarts are breeding the cautions more than anything, Justin. But overall, you know, we've got some really good racers out here tonight. Like you mentioned, they do well. Several of them do well in the officials. And here tonight, you can just see the commands that they have over these cars is very good. It's just a few mistakes here and there that send you around, and then, you know, maybe you get caught up because somebody else went around. We're going to get 3 going bumper to bumper there out of that turn. And that's, you know, when you get that close, that's when things start to go awry. That was a beautiful overtake there by that number 29 of that purple before losing it right back. I mean, but you can see just how close these cars get as they go for the overtakes.
Yeah, we've already seen a few drivers get some near contact. Already can say bump and ran out of the way was Thornton during the last restart. Anthony Trippi has been black flagged for the restart situation. Remember, when it comes to Trippi, he started way to the outside and did not stay in line. So the 07 having to serve a drive-through right now.
And that's going to be an unfortunate time for them, as it's just going to really, one, it's going to put you to the back of the grid, and 2, it just means more time that you spent slow speed. You're going to lose a lap, potentially 2, depending on how long it's going to take you to get through that drive-through. And with how short these tracks are, it's very easy to lose a whole lot of time. But Evan Yannick in that lead still just has a blistering pace up front. We saw they set the fastest lap just a lap or 2 ago. As we take a look at this 63 right now going around, I mean, everybody has a blistering pace tonight.
Yeah, lap times right now under the 28-second mark. Here we go in here. Charles Jr. trying to poke around. Under 10 laps to go in stage 1 already. And keep in mind, there is the potential later on tonight for green flag pit stops, because it's only 65% fuel limit tonight here at Phoenix. 45, I should rather say, for these drivers. So they will have to make pit stops later in the later stages for this race. That's going to add a little bit more pressure for them, because the normal fuel run is about 80 plus laps. You're getting really close on fuel when it comes to a green flag run for stage 3 in particular.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how these drivers decide to strategize around that. Anytime that you have to take a green flag pit, you know that you're losing time, so it's minimizing that amount of time that you will potentially lose during that green flag time of non-track time, essentially, as it will take you about 45 seconds to get through that pit stop. But for right now, that's not on the drivers' minds just yet. Right now, they're focused on getting through this first section here with less than 5 laps to go in that, you know, trying to be as high up as possible through this first stage.
And Robert McKay, you see using a lot of brake right now. Here's a look at his foot camera, putting in the work, and watch how much carefulness you have to have through the throttle. Also is blipping the clutch. Doesn't necessarily need to do that so much, but the brakes currently actually use a little bit more harder force on the brake. Just blipping down while also using a lot of gear shift.
Yeah, I like that how they're using the gears to control the car more than potentially the gas and brake. You see that a lot in you see a lot of gas brake either in when you're drifting or like in Formula One in those Formula style cars where you already have a lot of downforce and stuff like that, but using the engine to actually slow down the car here reduces the amount of potential mistakes that you have from your tires getting out of whack behind you or in front of you, depending on how you brake. It's really nice to see that, and that just shows the skill that these drivers have for tonight on this track.
Indeed, here, still a couple more laps to go on the stage, seeing some of the people outside the points working around the track. No, not Snyder has recovered to 19th since the fast repair so far. Gonna need the caution to be able to regroup and readjust up front. Pit road is closed. The 71 right now continue to hold on with traffic. Bollinger trying to work his way a lane lower. Schurer Jr. not able to make the move for the bottom hat to lift this time, coming up to 1 to go on the stage.
1 to go on the stage, and you can see just how much these racers want to get into that first position ever so tight on these corners, making sure they get as much speed as possible. You can see that number 71, Evan Yannick, really pushing through, seeing if they can't make a play and stay in first, because right behind them is Colin Bollinger, and they are right on their tail. I mean, side by side through a couple of those turns, just waiting for their opportunity to push through and get that first position, but was not quite able to make that happen as we are entering another caution.
And to stage 1, Evan Yannick comes away with the stage victory. Bollinger in second, then Schurer Jr. in third, Isaac Brock, then Rayshawn Winkfield, Joshua Thornton, Adam Holston, Gavin Heinzen finishes in 8th, Alex Pollock in 9th. The top 10 goes to Tony Brennan. So the 71 coming away with stage 1 so far here on VSPEED. Some good pace from our leader so far. He's been controlling things from the onset.
Has had a masterful time controlling the front here, making sure that anytime somebody decides to make a run on them, they have a good at least car and a half between them that they have to make up, which is really masterful in how they also use the entire track to their advantage. And you can see now everybody diving into the pits during this caution to make sure they can get back up on fuel. Of course, they have 2 sets of tires tonight if they so need to use it as well.
So they're going to use those right now, in fact, potentially. With the 2 tire sets of pits, that's going to make things extremely tricky on tire choice. Let's just say that for later on, we might see a lot of tire strategy as a result. Almost a tire roulette. We're not seeing a lot of these leaders come on the jacks, in fact, because of that. Janet comes up first with Schurer Jr. and Brock, the top 3. Few others did take some tires, it's worth noting, like Andrew Shaw, but a couple of others towards the back of the field. Bollinger has not left his pit stall yet in the 53.
Yeah, 53 might have already been involved in an incident, maybe. I don't think they're taking tires. I didn't see them up on the jacks, but they might have been involved or had some damage, deciding during this caution period to maybe not use that faster some time, get it fixed up without using that before coming back out of the pits, knowing that in this second stage they have some time that they can use just pushing ahead with as much green flag racing as they can get. So we'll have to see how that pays off for them. And I like that you brought up the tires in the back of the field. It's a risky move for sure, but I think it's one that might do well for them, because then they will only have to stop for fuel. They might be able to do some fancy work there in that third stage if they make it to that point, and having some quicker pit stops over the leaders who did not take tires at this time.
Robert's already being told to give some space here for the upcoming restart. Should be a wild time to say the very least now as we get ready to start stage number 2. Again, happy with us for coverage of the MRL here from Phoenix. Let's see how stage 2 breaks down for these drivers here. Janik in control on the old tires. You see the most positions gained in your bottom right corner. Christian Barnes currently the most spots gained in 8th. Green. On the outside line, didn't get going. Off we go to the dock leg.
Off into the dog leg. You can see 2 wide through this corner. The number 71 having an excellent run through, making sure they have a several car advantage over the next fastest car there, with Edward and Gavin going back and forth on those. So a good look from the leader so far in the second stage, taking a commanding lead to start things off. As the back of the pack starts to filter out, we can see that McDonald's car actually slide into 4th position for Rayshawn Winkfield. Really good look there, as they've made up 3 or 4 positions already in the opening laps of this stage.
Yeah, should expect to see a lot of people charge to the field and some people drop like rocks here. A lot of people are looking not comfortable on their tires at the moment, though, from that first stage carried over. We have one sliding on the inside, Tony Brennan. Brennan avoiding the wall in the backdrop. Near contact on screen as the 63 now does spin it for Fastman Racing on the apron. No caution is below the O line.
No caution, which means these are going to just keep going around, as we're going to get a replay of what happened here. Coming out of the turn, looking good so far. And it just seems, yeah, just again, too much on the brakes. They're going to avoid contact, but oof. Yeah, there's just, once you lose that initial portion, it's hard to regain it. You can see they corrected well to not get into the wall, but they just couldn't get back into the track and had to stop it, let everybody by, and then go forward without crashing into somebody. So gonna have a lot of work to make up for them as they get back into racing. But for everybody else, it's green flag racing and trying to vie for those positions with everybody else.
Joey Logano look tonight for Alex Pollock when it comes to paint scheme. He currently rides inside the top 8, but is in front of some of the people moving ahead. Knob Snyder, Samonsto's on the move so far this run. That's because you see him getting a bit low on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get himself around Caleb Hunt. One car did have some problems back there. That's the 99.
Number 99 having some problems. You can see they're dropping back as well. We'll have to see exactly what happened here, as we have our eye on them right now.
That would be Aaron Baum, who is,
and they just got bumped in the back.
Wow.
Got a little bit of a nudge through that turn, and because of that, it's, you know, it jolted the car enough to send them offline, and then they took a little bit of a tag from the wall of the pit lane wall as they came around that, just as a passenger essentially. So they're gonna have, you know, now they have some time to make up. Unfortunate for them.
Meanwhile, Adam Holston also is on the move. 3 seconds back. He raced leader last time by at 27.9. He's running about the same pace as the rest of the leaders. A little bit too much into the wall. Joshua Thornton having a bad sequence of corners in front. Also lost a lot of ground in the 29. Also more trouble. Knob Snyder's got damage again.
Unfortunate timings whenever you get just problem after problem on your car. We'll have to see exactly what caused it here, as they're coming around looking decent. Maybe looked a little squirrely on the back end going into that corner, but overall still nothing bad. As yeah, they just again out of that corner super squirrely into the wall because they lost the back end of their car once again. So huge front damage for them, as they're gonna have to get that back into the pits. You can see them coming in now to get that repaired. I think that's just gonna have to be a normal repair. I think they've already used their quick repair earlier on in this session.
Indeed they have so far, so that's going to really dampen their spirits after getting back up to near the top 10. Well, again, some of the other cars as they work around the racetrack, Ullman right now getting past that time by Bollinger. And this is a true test, you have to argue right now, for the drivers that did not take tires and the caution flag, because you had to do it at some point, Nicholas. And the thing is, if you used up your rubber early on in this race, you're really paying the price. Errors like Andrew Job, who took tires, they haven't made up ground. They're still in 16th, 8 seconds back in the leader.
And that's going to be a rough time for them. I mean, it's always good, to do. It's a mind game essentially here, Justin, as we actually have the 72 car into the barrier. I can't tell which turn we're in, but they almost collected another car there on that racing line, so has to be very careful in that 72 green and blue Sim Motion machine. Get a look to see what happened.
Aubrey Lord going around, somehow no caution. He was on the racing surface. Hit the dogleg, got loose with the weight shift on the suspension, spins it around.
Yeah, it's just these drivers having a little bit of time with their back ends coming out of these corners. I think they might be laying into the speed a little too early, and that's sending their back end around before they've completely gotten their car into a position. And then if you rotate those tires too early, it's just going to send your back end fishtailing out, and there's no control you have at that point, and you're just a complete passenger. So we'll have to keep an eye on how these drivers are able to react to it, especially as you lose your grip. It's more and more likely for that to happen. So a lot of these leaders have to be very careful who did not take tires in that last caution to make sure that they are completely confident in making sure they don't end up in one of those fishtail spins.
We do have a new race leader, by the way. Rayshon Winkfield, in the past few laps, as we were looking at some of the incidents starting to build up in the mid-pack, made the pass on Janik, has now pulled away by 0.6 of a second. Winkfield, he was not afraid to use the bumper in the early going off the restart. He's now flying as this run establishes itself. He's still in the 27.9s.
Yeah, absolutely flying still, and Rayshon in the lead. They started middle of the pack, had just some really good runs. We saw them, battling for 11th initially, then up to 8th, now into 1st, and really looking solid in that lead after passing up Evan, and now has a full second lead over them approximately as they come through turn 1 here.
Yeah, tires falling off as you see the battle for second. This is a racetrack, Nicholas, too, where it can take laps upon laps to be able to set things up past lines, at least 10 laps on a setup like this. Scherer Jr. still trying to make the bottom of the racetrack work to make a move, just can't get himself fully side by side to make the pass.
Yeah, and I like that you bring that up, because a lot of times when you're trying to set up a pass like this, you have to open the door yourself. The door's not going to present itself, especially with how fast these laps pass you by. If you wait for the opening, it will not appear. It is all about forcing the opportunity or forcing a mistake on the person in front of you and allowing you to go by because of that mistake. So it's going to be interesting to watch this battle and see who's able to actually stick it out in second, as it looks like there's the pass that we were talking about getting set up with Scherer Jr., but the 71's going right back on that inside line. They've just swapped positions to see who can actually still maintain that second position.
Scherer Jr. able to get the power down to be able to pull away a little bit now for that second spot. Oh, some bumper parts flying off. One driver is stopped towards the inside. A couple, in fact. Brett Wren is at the bottom of the racetrack, as well as a couple other competitors here, so no caution. We stay green.
You can see Brett now coming into pit lane, probably looking to fix an issue. Yeah, you can see that right front tire is completely locked up We'll have to see exactly what happened. Yeah, just tagging the wall there sends them down in, and they know at that moment they have to get into the pits. That is completely locked up. Good of them to get off that racing line as soon as possible and as safely as possible to get into that pit lane with that locked up tire.
So a struggle to get in the pit box with a broken axle like that, though. When you break that tie rod, it can be so tricky to get into the stall. This time, Ren able to do so at least. Let's take a look at some of the air battles going on here. So we're at less than 75 to go in the race itself already. Joshua Thornton on the bottom, Bollinger on the outside, making up a lot of ground from that pit stop sequence. Contact, he's in the wall. Thornton crashing with him. Thornton locks it up. Shob avoids contact, no caution. We stay green as Thornton is stopped on the track, now gets going.
That's probably going to require some fixing to do, I would guess. I mean, they caught a lot of that wall with the bumper. Their side just got absolutely nailed. The 53 is going to have some damages. That Batman car, I mean, just an unlucky timing. Yeah, looked like, yeah, the 29 just came too wide, didn't realize that 53 was there, and seems like the 53 came out mostly unscathed. It's really this 29 that took the brunt of the damage.
Yeah, just bobbled loose, and caution flag is now out of the racetrack. So caution is now out, may be having to do with that incident. Yeah, that was the most recent incident on the racetrack, believe. So we have had the caution fly here to freeze up the field.
Yeah, give them time to reset a little bit, make sure that everything else is good. I'm looking at the timing screens now. Brett was in the pits for quite a long period of time after that axle break, so they're going to be 5 laps down. Aubrey, who we saw had an incident earlier on in the race, is down a lap as well. Unfortunate things for them. Sometimes that just happens, and now with 72 laps to go, we are under this caution right now. Quick look up and down the timing screen here. We have Brandon Willard in 22nd. We saw they had an issue. We're able to get back out only 10 seconds behind the lead right now, as we have several cars diving into the pits. I would assume to probably get tires, maybe top up on fuel a little bit, but I would assume at this point it would most likely be tires.
I'd be trying some stuff a little bit different now with the damage. We'll see. Yes, tires absolutely going on for one car, and Alex Pollock. Expect him to be one of the front runners for a restart situation. Let's see some troubles finding some of the pit stalls for the 96 of Andrew Allen this time.
Sometimes it is, I mean, you're aiming for a box that's just slightly larger than your car, so it can be difficult as yeah, that's not quite where you want to be inside the your competitor's car there. So backing up into their stall, making sure that they can get in where they need to be to get fixed up, is they're having a lot of trouble with it here, Justin. Unfortunate time for them. Yeah, it seems like they're not actually going to take anything, unfortunately, for them.
We just had the leader, for some reason, pull down and tow his car from the race lead. Wingfield is now off the track. What has happened to the 25 in Sim? He's no longer the leader. He backed out from the lead.
That is very interesting indeed. We'll have to see what... maybe they had some damage from an earlier thing that they had that finally just broke free. I don't know what happened there. Very, very confusing times, as we now have a new leader in Scherer Jr., who has led for a part of this race as well very early on, before having to give it up to Evan Yannick there.
Green flag is out. Less than 10 to go in the stage here. Scherer Jr. now controlling the race lead over Janik Robert McKay and Gavin Heintzum battling for third. Job on some of the fresher rubber, making his way on the outside line, battling inside the top 10 now.
Looking good here as they are coming into the turn. No one getting squirrely yet again, so that's a good sign. The less squirreliness we get, the better, especially when all the cars are bunched up like this as they come down onto the apron to come into and out of the dog leg. Looking good so far. And we have a look down the pack. Back and forth, Isaac going up a few positions through this last lap. Everybody making a good run through. Very, very clean racing for us indeed in this restart.
Absolutely. Isaac Wilson amongst those keeping an eye on. He's trying to use the middle lines at the moment. One of the drivers that look pretty decent in the super speedways with the ancient gaming machines. Right now, he's got himself a battle though with Aaron Baum, who's been able to recover to 9th from his bump and slide.
Recovering nicely for sure, as you can see, back down onto the apron for the dog leg and back out. Overall, I mean, looking good as we see the battle for 8th. Aaron Baum, Christian Barnes, Adam Holston, and John Min all looking to secure that 8th position. And very tight through those corners they are, looking to go too wide almost coming out of turn 4.
Using those gears to their advantage, especially in 1 and 2 right now. Try and maximize the acceleration and the rev points to get rotation from most drivers. As Christian Barnes drives on by on the inside, looking on board in one of the Batman themed paint schemes in the field tonight.
Always love looking through to see what the different paint schemes are of the cars as they're racing. Of course, you always want to be semi-visible so you can get spotted inside the crowd, as well as being unique enough to also not be caught out for another one. But that Batman car is very unique in itself. Love to see stuff like that for sure. Always great to see the creativeness of these drivers and their paint schemes. Coming through now. We have 2 Batman cars tonight here, Justin.
Yep. Yeah, this one's been flying like Batman so far after having several minutes in the pit lane. Already Bollinger back to the top 3. Not bad for stage points. Speaking of which, coming up to 2 to go in stage 2. This time around, that's how quickly we've been flying through as pit road is closed for stage 2. Trouble front straightaway. One driver just spun it at the start and finish line. It is Joshua Gillen that has gone around. No caution. We stay green as the 10 has gone around.
It's been an unfortunate night for them as they've been involved in several incidences, both being collected and or just losing it on their own. And you can see just losing that back end once again, spinning around. Luckily not catching enemy, just barely avoiding 5 or 6 cars at that start finish line.
Brandon Ward did make contact there and cause damage. So it has hurt that machine here in this regard. So, caution flag is out. Char Jr. take the line this time, and this should be the end of stage. It is confirmed end of stage 2. Char Jr., Janik, Barnes, Bollinger, McKay, the top 5. Baum, Andrew Stobe, Heinzen. Then Holston and Andrew Allen, your top 10 for this pit window. Let's take a quick break. Stage 3 coming up. You're watching VSPEED.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Phoenix for more coverage of the Mystic Racing League, brought to you in part by Sofa News. They're dedicated to being your go-to source for engaging and thought-provoking stories for the Mystic Racing League. Their mission is to provide insightful news that captures interest and encourages discussions navigating the fine line between fact and fiction. We inspire to be the leading voice of the Mystic Racing League's media landscape, focusing on bold reporting and valuable insights that foster conversation. At Sofa News, we are passionate about keeping you informed and entertained with each article we share, whether it's the latest updates, surprising revelations, or diverse opinions that stimulate thoughtful debate. We invite you to join us on this enlightening journey to the stories that truly matter. Well, so far, Stage 1 and 2 has brought some interesting insights. Christian Barnes is the leader. He was the only one to stay out this stage. Caution, he leads as we're backing away.
Leading they are, and looking so good while they do it. You can see that 71 is right on the back of Edward Scherer Jr.'s Dr. Pepper machine as well. These racers up front have not let go. Any chance that they get, they take it and they run away with it. Now it's Christian Barnes in the lead. We've had 4 to 5 different leaders of tonight's races. We have 56 laps left to go, and it is still anybody's race here, Justin. It is looking absolutely wonderful. As a little bit of a tag there from that shell racing up on that turn, so losing it a little bit there. Want to watch that a little bit. But Justin, what are your thoughts so far tonight? I mean, it's been some excellent racing from these all up and down the pack, but anything specifically standing out?
Well, so far, what's specifically standing out is not as much fall off as one would think you would have to say, Nicholas. You would think with the tires you might have 1-2 second of fall off even with the laps turned. It hasn't hit that way so far. We've only seen a few tenths of fall off for most of the field. Tires haven't necessarily seen people rise to the field like you would think. Oh, trouble, front straightaway. Big spin on the front straightaway. A couple people. Bomb is around. Caution flag is out. He slides into the pack and gets hit.
Unfortunate timing is so many people there caught up with that. We saw the big shunt from that Denver Mattress 78, the build submarines, number 99 there, also catching a few cars as well. Very unfortunate timing through that front straightaway. As we take a look, what happened, just number 99 just braking, trying to avoid that and making them spin, catching several cars there. Unfortunate timing there as the incident happened in front of them, and then just crazy times. They're getting on board here with Caleb Hunt as they narrowly avoid, but instead still get shunted as they had to brake and just turned into a passenger at that point. High speed braking, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not doing it in a straight line, your car is going to go sideways.
Olston making contact with Hunt in that sequence. Hunt just about hitting the side of the 99 for part of that spark. So cautions starting to stack up again. Barnes still the race leader though at this point. As he maintains the bottom of the racetrack under this pacing lap at the moment. So interesting situation to say the very least. A lot of people getting collected in that. How does that impact now the driving, knowing you still have pit stops to think about for the future here to make it to the end on gas, and it becomes a strategy roulette almost now.
This is where racecraft really starts to shine. Who understands not only the track but also what the car is capable of, because you have to meld those two things plus your own skill and put it to the test here. And understanding I have this much gas, I'm using so much per lap, doing all of that math, making sure that you can get in and out. This is gonna, it feels like we're going to have a few more cautions with how this has been going tonight. So they might be looking to push it to that very extreme before diving in. And it'll be interesting to see who goes for the undercut, who decides to stay out, especially with these leaders, as that's really going to play into who is going to take that checkered flag.
Here's this time by as the field chooses their respective lines here. No major surprises on the lane choices on this restart. Tonight's action brought to you in part by THDesigns. For this evening's action, happy to have them as a supporter of this series. Also tonight joining is Show It Off. Here at Show It Off, we have a huge collection of inflatable rentals to choose from. From the basic bounce house rental, complex obstacle course rental, to a massive 45-foot inflatable water slide rental. Show It Off LLC offers more inflatables than any other company in Tulsa, Oklahoma's area. Again, OklahomaBounce.com, the website. I thank them for joining in for tonight's action as we bounce our way along to 50 laps to go. Green flag is out, back underway. Barnes leads them down to the green flag.
Green flag racing as they go through that dog leg, coming back up, ready into turn one here. Looking good, but it's going to be Evan Janik getting a great line over Christian Barnes, taking that first place position, with Scherer also coming into the second, battling it out for Barnes, who takes it right back. But they are wheel to wheel coming in to this turn and then into the dog leg here shortly. Excellent looking there as it's finally confirmed by Scherer, but through this dog leg it could swap hands once again potentially, but not quite going to happen, as Barnes has accepted currently that they are going to be in third with a little bit of a tag of the wall there. Have to be a little careful coming through with how much speed you're carrying there, Justin.
Now Roberts going way to the outside. You see on screen Clothing Aaron Espy back there, so it's going on losing some ground at the moment. Roberts had to be very careful. I'm noticing a lot of people, especially on some of the older tires, are cooking their entries. David Moyer, you're seeing, for example, going way high, swooping up the racetrack. Yeah,
I like that you bring that up, because it really does. Now we're going to start to see these tires start to matter. We were surprised a little bit earlier that it hadn't created a big difference yet, and I think we're starting to see these older tires have major effects over some of these drivers who maybe aren't as confident on them. Evan Janik, Scherer Jr., and Barnes all feel very confident on their tires. I don't think any of them have taken tires yet, so we'll have to see exactly when they decide to do so. I'm going to guess it's going to be within the next caution. As you can see, they're starting to cook some of their entries as well.
Andrew Schwab, amongst those who previously had came down to pit road during the end of the last stage, ended up dropping himself to the back with an EOL penalty. Here, see what happened in this battle. Allen gets bounced off of this time by the 21 of Isaac Brock.
Anytime that you have any sort of touch like that, it's always nerve-wracking, because any shunt of the vehicle could send it off, and you lose traction on any one of the tires for a split second, and that can easily turn the car around. So getting close and really pushing the limits of what these next-gen cars are capable of, and I love to see it. This is what racing is about, is pushing everybody to the absolute limit as another caution comes out.
back in our yellow. Trying to see where the caution came from here, but that's going to freeze the field yet again and should get people to the end on fuel this period, this time. We'll have to see. We did have Gillen sliding around that time.
Yeah, and it seems like they're just having issues with the setup of their car. They've been involved. They've been the cause of several here, and it seems like they just can't get a feel for their back end. Luckily, stopping it just before running into that barrier. But Justin, I get the feeling it's their setup at this point, because I would assume by now they've swapped their tires with how far back in the field that they are, and it's not the first time we've seen them go around like that. So even if they were on old tires, even when they were new, they were doing the same thing. So I have to get a feel that they're not comfortable, they're not confident in the setup that they have tonight for their car.
Did have some people come in for the fuel stops, by the way. Isaac Wilson just came in. Andrew Scholb is taking tires, it's worth noting, during this pit window. A lot of others just taking fuel only, though. So a lot of people are managing their sets, just trying to hold on to them almost, it seems like, to the very end, just in case.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen in some of these races, especially with how this one is going. So for them to hold off till the end is not surprising, especially the leaders. You can tell they're starting to feel the wear, but it's not to the point of being an issue. So we'll have to see if they decide to use that second set, or if they're willing to stick it out to the end on their initial set of tires. But there's been a few cars there that have been in the pit lane for quite a long time.
Yeah, Caleb Hunt's been in there for 8+ minutes. He's already out of the race car, so it looks like he's now done for the day. And is also Munzel's in and out of the pit lane at the moment, going back and forth. Getting ready for a restart once again. Janik up front. We are delaying the green. We have Christian Barnes that has just been turned around, has had trouble in the restart choose because he ended up squeezing Pollock into the wall with a late decision.
Ooh. Yeah, you can't. It sucks. You cannot make a late decision like that, especially on times like this, and because of that, it's gonna get spun around. It's gonna delay this caution even longer, as you have to reset the field a little bit more, give time for everybody to get back into position. Yeah, just unfortunate time for Barnes, who was up front with the leaders for quite a long time, now struggling a bit.
Tempers are starting to flare a little bit. Our first non-super speedway race of the season, mind you. Coming up to the length of the other stages to go. Coming up 40 laps to go in this one. It's been a roulette in terms of strategy, but Janik's been one of the consistent markers up front. Same for Bollinger. He's now looking to see if he can charge his way to the point. Outside front row for this restart.
See, bunched up, ready to go as they start to come around here. 71, 53, 37, and 39 are your top four. As they... it's looking so good. I love getting these long shots of the pack as we are now green flag racing down into the dog leg, back up onto the raceway, and going too wide, wheel to wheel there with the white and teal. Can't quite pick out those numbers. It's definitely the 99, and it looks like the 78 cars definitely riding each other through that corner. You said tempers were flaring. It does feel like it a little bit, as it's the 88 car, excuse me. The 99 and the 88 car were definitely wheel to wheel. 99 also getting close to that 47, as it's, back and forth across this track, Justin, and everybody's trying to eke out every inch of space they can on it.
Robert McKay on the bottom. Doesn't have the power down as the outside line, a great way to defend so far in battles like this. 3 wide offset for a moment. Joshua Thornton just about sent it to the inside wall, trying to get alongside for the battle as the 47 of Moyer drops another spinner front straightaway. No caution, we stay green. Tony Brennan is the wrong way around on the front stretch as there's still 2 wide in the pack.
While all that was happening, another fastest lap, this time from Colin Bollinger, who's up into second position. Had a decent time in qualifying, dropped back a bit, now pushed up into second, right behind Evan Yannick, just 0.2 seconds back, really trying to see what they can make happen. And now coming right back around, these cars are just using every inch of track they can to make every pass possible. Not too much on the bump drafting tonight, it feels like, that you would normally on a super speedway, as this track, it's so squirrely for these cars. And a lot of these drivers, if you do get a tap, and that looks like the 88 car had to slow down a bit just to keep control over it, almost collecting the 23 there as they went so slow. Huge timing there.
Yeah, McKay sent it a little bit too hard, saying my bad's over the radio there as that cost him some time. Looking back up to the battle involving the top 6. Right now, that includes Isaac Wilson, fuel only a little while ago. He's already back up to 7th. The Ancient World Gaming Machine looking very solid so far. Looking to try and go a little bit deeper to set up a pass amongst the Fords here.
Definitely looking good as we come along this straightaway on the back stretch. You see here positions gained. Christian Barnes coming up 11 spots. Aubrey up 10 spots. Even after having the issues that they did, still running an absolutely fantastic race for themselves. Looking to see if they can't secure some much needed points here very early on in the.
Yeah, looking like the bottom of the racetrack, the way to go for Andrew Allen, mind you. Allen cruising his way up inside 7th spot and preferring the dog leg. Now, here's the thing about this dog leg when it comes to fixed setup racing, at least. Eventually, you'll end up having the car bottom out a fair bit. We're starting to see a lot of people come up a little bit adverse about using that dog leg because of that risk to the suspension.
Yeah, and you can see that has played a little bit of a time. We saw some very early on, not at all going the normal route and not losing too much time off themselves. As you can see, that number 99 did bottom out a little bit, and it could have caused some suspension issues we saw earlier on in the races. The number 87 is actually stopped on track right now in the middle of it. We're going to get a caution out for this, and we'll get a replay here, excuse me, of just what caused that. As you can see, some smoke coming out of the back of their car there.
Bradley Knobsnyder having problems there. Or under yellow, and it's because Joshua Thornton had also just went around and he drove straight into him. That was in the battle with Isaac Brock, we can tell you, from the 29's case, where he bounced off the 21.
Yeah, and just inside that racing line, there's nowhere for you to go. They just got turned around and right into each other. Unfortunate there, as it was an awkward line, I would say, from the hit from the 87, but still very much could have, gotten through that wall and everything, but instead just unfortunately collected up there, got fixed up and back onto the track. That was their quick fix. They were able to avoid everything earlier, so they were able to get that quick fix. Oh no, still in the replay, but still, hopefully they have that quick fix available to them, because I haven't seen them go into the pits for an issue like that, so should have that available to them. And we'll get a look here about what happened with the 29 and how they got turned around.
Remember some of that battling going on around the top 10, and then this. Missed the bottom, bounced off the door.
And lost their back bumper too. That is going to take some time, as they're going to have to get into the pits as well. And yeah, that's sometimes how the racing works. Of course, missing that back bumper, gonna go into the pits, get that fixed up hopefully, and get back out onto the track. 30 to go, currently under caution here, and still at least another caution or two is in store for us. I'm just gonna call it here right now, Justin.
And we did have a more tire roulette, this caution flag. A lot of people just took their tire sets available in the pit lane. Why not, with 30 laps to go, to say the very least? And now we might see some differences in speed here once again, but we didn't see that necessarily in the short one of the last restart. Restart choose this time by, and no surprises yet again up front. Janik maintains the front, followed by Wilson Scherer Jr., and we have a delayed yellow here, delayed green should say, as some people look to get regrouped here. And we have an EOL penalty, second place on the track. Edward Scherer Jr. just got an EOL penalty. And the 71 also just got an EOL penalty.
Not a good look. That's going to really hurt their races as well. Unfortunate for them is that's going to drop them way back. Evan Yannick is still in first position, but that Dr. Pepper machine was running in second for most of the race, and for Scherer Jr. just now with that penalty going to set them way back, and that's going to mean Isaac Wilson is going to be up into second position, looking to make a play for first. With the penalties there at the top of your screen for Yannick and Scherer. Have to see how that's gonna entail for them as we are coming up here in turn one, as everything's gonna get set up.
So 71 now coming on to the back of the field. So there was a lot, yeah. Very tough time. You have to be below that first seam on the track and above the yellow line. So that's the situation here. So in control for the restart, in theory, would be Isaac Wilson. Christian Barnes is the first now on the bottom of the racetrack for the restart. 27 to go at the stripe. Green flag is out. Wilson leads.
Wilson, now our new leader in that 93 black, blue, and red machine, has a decent run over that Batman Chevrolet that's right behind them of Christian Barnes. Pollock and Shobe going back and forth in third and fourth. Holston in fifth position right now with Tony Brennan in sixth. Colin Bollinger in seventh position, all running a very tight race up on this lead. So that number 82 goes wide in turn four, avoiding most of the pack, but also staying off that dog leg, not wanting to risk that suspension, as number 63 gets awful close there coming off of that dog leg.
Yeah, caution, more trouble. And we're under yellow. It's Isaac Brock around. A couple others are stopped in the corner. We're back under yellow. Brock was running 12.
We'll get a look at that here in just a second, see exactly what happened. Coming around, staying off that dog leg. Looking good. Got slowed up a little bit, and then just lost control of the car. Slowed it up a little bit too early on the brakes, and then got another car collected with it. Unfortunate for them, and they're gonna have to get that back into the pits and fixed up. That rear left tire really taking a huge shunt from that passing car. We'll get a look here inside about what happened, and yeah, just unfortunate timing for also the car who ran into them. I couldn't see who it was exactly, but they're probably gonna have a decent amount of damage as well.
Yeah, one still involved in that one was Wren. We can tell you that at least in the grade 24. Watch right here as he gets clipped right there. And that collects the rest of the cars involved in the incident.
Yeah. No other cars caught up in that, but definitely going to have to send a couple to the pits to get fixed up as we get a nice shot here of victory lane, as we are still under caution. Justin, we're under caution for right now. 24 laps left to go. What are we looking for from these leaders, especially from Isaac, who this is the first time they're leading tonight, to be able to hold this lead and then or maybe for Christian to be able to overtake and win the race?
I think what we're about to see here essentially is the importance of being able to maintain track position even with the differences on tires at this point. Because so far we've seen a lot of people drop like rocks after so many laps on some of the rubber so far. Remember, Wilson took fuel only a caution before, and that ended up being a perfect call to get him the track position here. Choose underway, by the way. This is going to be an important time for Wilson to maintain. Barnes, it's worth noting, has sent it aggressive into the corners, try and maintain for position, as we'll see what the 27 does on this restart coming to 22 to go.
Taking a look at the timings right now, they're very tight through the top 8 to 9 is when you start to get to that second back. But all still, you know, we're starting to see these best times still in that upper 20s. I'd be curious to see how much we've dropped from those fastest times now that these tires are starting to give way for these leaders as we are coming around, getting ready for this restart. You can see taking off is Isaac Wilson, making sure they get an excellent start through that green flag, start finish straight. Really good start for them there, Justin.
A really great start for Wilson. Andrew Schob on the outside. Oh, some trouble. More spins at the back of the field for Gillen. No caution. We have more people wrecking on the back straightaway. Tony Brennan and a couple others just stacked up, and the caution is out.
Caution is out, and just before that caution, we did get at least one lap completed. We're going to take a look here as it's the number 10 once again spinning around, it looks like. Just not comfortable with this setup. It feels like no one around. Looking good as they come around, and be interested to see exactly where it happens. Is actually that one they were just run into the back of, unfortunately.
There was a stack up in front of them. Watch the 88 if we can. This is what happened. The second part that did trigger the caution. They're slamming the brakes and stacking up on the straightaway. But Robert McKay, it's worth noting before this too, got to the side of the 71. And that caused a stack up involving the 10 machine. Hard contact for the 63 and the 72.
Good dodge out there by that 71 of Evan Yannick to make sure that they missed out on being collected as part of that.
But they were collected in this.
Yep, there's the turnaround for them. Unfortunately, that number 88. 3 wide through some of these corners is a very, very risky business, and you can see exactly why right there. The middle car just doesn't have anywhere to go and gets just picked up.
Let's back Riel with under 20 laps to go this time by. So cautions now breed cautions. And the more these laps turn, the less the tires matter, right? Because there's going to be less time on the green flag laps in theory on that rubber. It makes it even more important to have gotten this track position fuel while having the pace to maintain the position is the key thing, and Wilson's got the pace.
Yeah, Wilson has shown they absolutely have the pace on these restarts to make sure that they can keep the lead. It's going to be up to Barnes to anticipate and be able to stick on their bumper in order to create an opportunity to pass them and take that lead, but it's not going to be easy for them. As Isaac has a really good command of the front of that pack. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that works out for them as we're working our way down, only 19 to go. And like you said, the less laps there are of green flag, the less the tires matter. And for some of these racers, these tires are really going to run the distance and potentially may have made the right call to not grab them earlier on in the race if they're able to stick on the single set.
Who's as good this time around? Coming to 18 laps to go. Andrew Schob, an interesting spot. He's been up and down the running order. He's now in second for this upcoming restart. Green flag is out. Back underway. Already under attack as Andrew Schob couldn't get to the inside to block off Barnes from the dog leg. Here comes the run now. Bollinger taking a peek. One sent for Baum. Now Pollock also involved in the battling as they make their way out of the corner.
3 wide coming out of that corner, and again another risky business. It was the back end of Barnes plus Schob and Bollinger coming out of that in line. Close margins for these racers as they come around through that dog leg, as another spin there for that 99, and we get a call. 4 is picked up along with that black and red back there as well. I can't quite see the number on it, but unfortunate timing once again is another caution as we could not quite get around a lap.
John Uman, hard contact in that incident. And seen that coming after right about here. One major bit of contact sparks things, and that sparks the 99 back up the track.
Rough shunts there for those 3 cars, as contact breeds contact when you're in this short track racing here, and there's just nowhere for them to go as it was rolling up the track. And you can see there's more up track too from that. It wasn't just the back there was more up front as well, as they are trying to now collect themselves, get themselves back to the pits, and hopefully fixed up for the restart.
If they can at this point, if they have a fast repair. You know who this has really helped, by the way? Remember Rayshon Wingfield from the lead, put it on the tow truck? He's come back from 2 laps down, is in the top 5.
Insane work by them tonight. Absolutely. Getting towed out of first, now back top 5. I mean, you couldn't ask for really a better stretch of the last few laps to get them into this position.
It's interesting to say the very least, but it kind of emphasizes the speed Wingfield may have here behind the wheel. Can he find his way up to the point? That's the question. He's running out of laps to do it.
Yeah, running, a decent, their best lap was a 27.420, a very quick, blistering pace that they have. We'll have to see if they're actually going to be able to win out on the Battle of the Burgers here with the Wendy's car in front of them. But, it's going to come down to how well does Schob manage to defend coming out of the restart, because it is now coming down to how good are you on your restart. Are you able to anticipate what is going to happen, or are you going to be caught flat-footed and get passed up easily by some of these other drivers who have a little bit faster anticipation for that? We'll have to see as we wait for restart to happen, as everybody starts to get lined up for the restart.
We need to see if there's any restart violations this time for the Chews. Seeing Wingfield not stay above one of his seams. We'll have to see if that's a penalty. Doesn't believe so. So it's Wilson, it's Bollinger. Then it's Barnes and Schob. It's Wingfield and Holston. Amongst your top 6 for this upcoming restart. 13 to go from the desert. This race has been zipping on by on the lap counter. Let's see what happens this time. Green flag is out. Back it away. Bollinger times it up right. Now he looks to try and time it up right on the arc as Barnes holds on to 3rd.
Little bit of contact from that Dr. Pepper, and the waffle and the Wendy's car is going to go sideways but not collect anybody. Going to be able to control that. Does drop down a bit as the McDonald's of Rayshon goes sideways, and it's going to drop down the pack. Unfortunate for them, as now no caution at least, but does actually, have a little bit of contact, go sideways And for them, it's going to be a little bit harder for them with only 12 to go to get back up there and make a play for it, as they are down in 17th position at this point.
Race lead, Bollinger now to the point. Slam for Janik in the back of the field, but Bollinger now looks to pull off and away in the 53.
Doing an excellent job, Bollinger, on that with these laps to pass up Wilson and also take a commanding lead with it 3 wide going around the turn 2. Able to secure it is Scherer Jr., who, like you saw earlier, little car's going sideways there through that stretch.
Andrew Allen's the wrong way around. He's now stopped on the track. Crash for Brennan. Caution flag is out, and we're back under caution. 10 laps to go.
10 laps to go and another caution. I was expecting 1 or 2 more. I wasn't expecting it to be a caution city here for us, but as it is, we'll take a look to see what happened as the number 63 slammed into that upper wall. Yeah, had to brake to avoid, and then still too fast slams into the back of the other car and just up into the wall. Unfortunate time there for them, as they weren't able to slow down fast enough. 16 just came up.
Some horrible luck when it comes to Brennan's race at this point. It's running in the teens before the incident. But it's going to re-rack him and stack him yet again here, Nicholas. That's the big thing for these drivers now. Bollinger now in the lead, but Edward Scherer Jr. got up to the top 3 at the time of the caution flag. He is flying, in part because he was one who took tires 15, 16 laps ago, and he's got some of the freshest rubber in the field.
Yeah, I think right after they got that penalty, they decided to take the tires and really utilize this fresh rubber to maybe put a new coat on this track of rubber, because they are absolutely flying, like you said. And I wouldn't put it past them. With 8 laps, if there's no more cautions, they have a very serious play for first with how fast they're able to fly around this track.
Yeah, could be the winning move here, especially since we're now at the point where there are only just 14 clean cars, so to speak, left on the track. Janik amongst those, who is now in the lane for substantial time in this caution flag. People are running out of tire sets if they didn't hold on to them, and better yet, are running out of the faster pairs with the attrition buildup. It's been an interesting night, to say the very least, with that, but coming up to 7 laps to go here, Bollinger's going to have a big challenge to hold on.
We'll definitely have to see how this restart plays out. We have at least 1 more lap here, as they still all need to get bunched back up and ready to go. Are we going to see more laps of clean racing, you think, Justin, or is it going to be at least another caution here in Phoenix, as these racers are giving it their all and full sending these cars down the track?
I think this is going to be an interesting finish, to say the least, with the fresher tires now going to be on the outside. Scherer Jr. choosing to be the first on the outer lane. Wilson chose to give up second to be on the bottom. Keep an eye on that entry into turn 1. This could get wild. 6 laps to go here in the Mystic Racing League from Phoenix under the lights. Bollinger in control for this restart. Oh, up to the restart.
Oof.
Here we go. Scherer Jr. did not get going on the gas, Nick.
No, he did not. He's going to dive into that dog leg, seeing if they can't make something happen. And they do at least secure second for a little bit, as they are... Oh, they are getting a little... in the turn, not quite able to hold the speed that they wanted to. So that means Wilson's going to take second and Holston's going to take third before they try to make a run back. But now Wilson did not have the run and is dropping it into third. A little bit of a tap there as they go 3 wide entering turn turn, coming back out, and Scherer is dropped down substantially, now into 6th position. Thornton's up into 5th. Bollinger still holding 3rd. Holston and Barnes battling it out for 1st and 2nd as we wrap around. Coming back down the back end with only 5 laps to go. Bollinger has a 1.5-second lead over everybody else and has some clean air to hopefully gather themselves the first place spot tonight. But we went 4 wide entering the dog leg. That is some risky business, Justin.
3 wide now. Thornton now 4 wide again. Scherer Jr. trying on the bottom. Barnes having a wiggle. He pushes the 93 up the track at Wilson. Now all the way back to 3rd is Scherer Jr. And that 97 not going to be too happy. Some argy-barginess with Wilson costing him and a lot of people time. 3 wide again.
3 wide again, and Scherer is back up into 3rd position. Colin Bollinger has a now 2-second lead over the pack and feeling good about that. As we can see, looking down the rest of the field, everybody's still bunched up, going 2 wide, exiting these turns. Is another little tap there of the pit lane wall. Isn't going to bring out a caution. Getting tighter and tighter on these turns, Justin. This number 23 McDonald's using every bit of track that they can for Rayshawn Wingfield, working their way back up beautifully even after that spin that they had back up into 5th position. They have had the speed tonight.
Oh, some wiggles from 2nd. Thornton into the pack. Crash with Isaac Wilson. No caution as we come up to the white flag. Now they crash once again. Final time around as the white flag is out. They're crashing hard at the start and finish line. But it's Colin Bollinger with a sizable margin who's able to pull away from a heavily battling pack for 2nd. Checker flag in sight for the 53. Ball in hand, it is Bollinger who balls his way to victory at Phoenix.
What a consistent race coming out of Bollinger. Always in that top 10, having good eyes to, move up slowly but consistently. And then once they got that look at 1st position in these last few, they never let it go and absolutely blew away with that lead, 2 to 2.5 seconds ahead of Scherer at the finish line. It was 2.482 seconds. Huge times.
A big margin absolutely in this one as Colin Bollinger burns it on down. Look out. Crashing with some people as they cross the line. But the 53 had speed to keep it up front much of this race. The speed came into play in the late stages at the right time for the 53 to win it.
Had the speed when it mattered most. Sure, coming back after that penalty as well on the restart, having a huge play for them. And, great racing up and down the field tonight, Justin.
Indeed. Let's take a step aside when we come back. Post-race coverage. You're watching VSPEED for coverage of the Mystic Racing League after a wild one from Phoenix.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, for post-race coverage of the Mystic Racing League from Phoenix. After a busy night of racing, coming to a close after an eventful finish. Let's take a look at the race results here. It's Colin Bollinger who takes the win by more than 2 seconds over Edward Scherer Jr. Alex Pollock finishes in third. Then it's Shobe and Barnes in the top 5. Adam Holston finishes in 6th. Janik comes away 7th with Heinzen in 8th. Then it's Andrew Allen and Aubrey Lord, your top 10.
Moving into 11th, we have David Moyer, Joshua Thornton, Ray Sean Winkfield, Tony Brennan, and Joshua Gillen rounding out the 11th through 15 spots. Aaron Espy, Isaac Wilson, Brandon Willard, Robert McKay, and Aaron Baum rounding out your top 20 for this evening.
21st went the way of John Human, Isaac Brock 22nd. Bradley Knopsteiner amongst the DNF list, along with Brett Wynn and Jared Knopsteiner, Caleb Hunt, Zach White. And you have Keith Pittman and Andrew Trippi parked it after his black flag early in the race. So that's a look talked about in your running order. 29 cars started this one. It's the cautions built up, but it was Colin Bollinger who built up a sizable margin to come away with a race victory. Colin comes away with the win by almost 3 seconds. Colin, congratulations on the win tonight here at Phoenix. How would you describe that speed in the late stages as you broke away as they battled hard for second?
Oh, I mean, describing it with perfect timing, right? I mean, nothing better than a win. I mean, it went perfect. I mean, some penalties to other guys and just some clean passes, and it was good hard racing. And just like that, I got the lead, and I looked in the mirror, and there was kind of nobody there. So, just perfect timing.
How difficult was this race in terms of planning out the strategy, especially with just 2 tire sets in the pit and making it where it seemed like tire management was critical?
I mean, it was really tough. I mean, I kind of knew from last night it was the same way, so I kind of had an idea. So around the second stage, I didn't take any tires. We just ran it and just prayed, and luckily I think I drove all the way up to third into the second stage, and then we had that extra set of tires sitting there. And then coming to 20 to go, I pulled in, took them, and I don't think it helped as much as I thought, but it still gave me enough to obviously get the lead and the win. So, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it all night, and we pulled it off great. So,
well, with that being said, still early on in the season, how are you feeling about the championship so far after the 2 super speedway races and now a solid finish, to say the very least, here tonight?
I mean, for the championships, I'm not much really concerned. I'm pretty much just making spot races here and there. So I'm not really worried about running it for that, but I mean, I'll probably pick some more of the short tracks, maybe a couple super speedway races. We'll see. But other than the championship, it's really not on my mind. Just the wins.
Anyone want to give a shout out here too tonight?
Yeah, I mean, gotta give out a shout out to Team Delusional. Daniel Smith, he makes all my paints, and just a couple guys I raced with back at the shop. I mean, Sean Walton was here tonight, or Winkfield. So it's just those guys. But yeah, good night, and thanks for broadcasting the race, guys.
Congratulations on the win here tonight, Colin.
Thank you.
Colin Bollinger coming away with the win tonight. Second spot went to Edward Scherer Jr. Scherer Jr. is with Nicholas.
Edward, congratulations on an excellent race. I want to talk a little bit about, you got that penalty on the restart, working your way through that pack, through those last few, to then be able to come away with second position, starting almost 15th on that run up.
The penalty sucks. I mean, I know it's in the rules and everything, but I felt like I chose pretty clearly what was the bottom lane, but I guess I had to have all 4 below the seam, and I just didn't, so sucks, but what are you going to do? I felt like we definitely, if not a race-winning car, we definitely had top 3, so definitely wanted to try to get back up to the front, but yeah, it was interesting driving through the back of the field. Definitely a lot of chaotic moments, I didn't really have much experience, I would say, this whole race going through, like knowing how everybody was going to drive, so I mean, qualifying on pole and then being mainly up front the whole race, it was definitely a lot more interesting to drive back there. So, yeah, I'm just glad we recovered for a top 3. And besides the little dust ups and scratches here and there, just glad to honestly finish this race in the top 3, honestly.
No, absolutely wonderful race by you all night long. I mean, I don't even think I saw you out of the top 5, it felt like, until you had that penalty. Talk to us a bit about the strategy that you came into tonight with. Obviously, it's a shorter track, only a mile long, with that dog leg and the 2 sets of tires. What was your thought process coming in tonight to make sure that you could end in the top 3?
Honestly, I just did it on the fly, to be honest with you. I didn't know we had 2 tire sets at all. This being my first race of the season and all, but yeah, it definitely played a factor. I was like thinking, I'm like, okay, maybe I should see if I could save a little bit of tire in this first stage, because having the stage breaks, I felt like helped it, like space it out strategy wise. So the 40 laps, I'm like, okay, my tires were still decently in the 90, like low 90s, high 80s. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could save this set. And then on from there, just I kind of like played it by ear when I wanted to take that last set, and I took it when I was in that back part of the moment. I think we had like 30 to go or something like that when they all started wrecking again. But yeah, I didn't think the tires really meant all that much, because when me and the 71 pitted that first time for tires, and then we just took fuel only. When we just took fuel only, and I forget who it was, the 25 took tires. We were kind of keeping pace with him. It was just me and the 71 fighting. Kind of showed me, okay, really tires didn't matter that much, but I felt like in that situation I wanted them to be able to make different moves that I wanted to, so it definitely helped, I feel like, in the end. But all in all, it was a fun night. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I have a new pedals I'm trying to figure out, because, you know, when you get used to a load cell, it's different than the normal stuff you usually begin with. So it's definitely fun wearing out these Sim Magic P1000s, and
Awesome.
yeah, hopefully do it again next week.
Any shout outs to anybody in the audience this evening?
I just want to shout out you guys in the booth. You know, DJ's a good friend of mine, so appreciate you guys doing the show and whatnot. Hope you guys had a good time. And shout out my buddy RJ for making this paint scheme last second. I texted him this morning and asked him to make it. So shout out to him. He has his logo on the side of the corner panels. So shout out to him, and also Dr. Pepper, the greatest soda in the business. So yeah, thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Edward Scherer, coming in second this evening at the Phoenix International Speedway.
Not bad speed from him at all here tonight. Alex Pollock came away in 3rd spot here tonight in the Joey Logano paint scheme. Alex, how would you describe your night making your way up to the top 3?
Oh, that was a fun race. I think tires didn't matter as much as I thought they were. I tried to change the strategy based on what other people were doing, and in the end, I don't think it mattered as much as I thought, as our team thought. So, but it was a good close race till the end, and I'm sorry about the 23. I kind of ran him deep into the corner there, but going into turn 3 and 4, going to the white flag, we were avoiding a wreck, and I just missed my braking zone, so I got into the back of him and turned him by accident. That's my bad. Other than that, good racing all around.
I was about to say, how tricky was it to make some of the passes to be able to get yourself in this position and be able to find your way through the pack, because it seemed like track position seemed like king?
Yeah, track position was definitely king. It was hard to get by people. If you weren't on the inside, it was hard to get by them on the outside, especially in 3 and 4. I mean, you can't pass on the outside there. So you had to get them in 1 and 2 or cutting the dog leg, which I didn't really like to cut the dog leg because it was not fun driving the car through there. But I had the 5-star racing boys. We finished 3rd, 4th, and 6th, I believe. So a good finish for us. Couldn't have done without them. And then we had 2 of them that were out of the race helping us spot at the end.
So next race is scheduled to be at Auto Club. Your thoughts on going to California next week?
I've only raced there a couple times. It should be a similar track to this, where tires will burn off, even though they didn't burn off as much as expected tonight. So I think there will be some strategy involved there. There's some braking involved. So I think we'll have a similar situation where some people will ride out back, and the talent, more of the talent will be up front. I mean, not knocking anyone in the field. It was a good race all around tonight, but it definitely will separate some of the talent in the whole field.
Any shout-outs you'd like to give here tonight?
Yep, shout out to the 5-Star Racing Team again. Shout out to, I got the Joey Logano paint scheme on. Hopefully the Team Penske boys do well at Daytona on Sunday. I did notice, normally I race the Dr. Pepper. I didn't tonight. It's on the car, but not on the hood. The top 3 would have had Dr. Pepper on the hood if I ran a different scheme tonight. But shout out to them. Red Gold, not soup cans in the background. That's Red Gold tomatoes and Slush Puppy. Those are my 3 sponsors.
Congratulations on the run once again here tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you, boys. Good broadcast tonight.
Alex Polk rounding up your top 3 here tonight. I'd like to thank the entire top 3 for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on VSPEED. Your thoughts on tonight as we get ready for our next race going full throttle from California.
It was a really good race tonight. Now moving on to the Auto Club Raceway out my way this time. So it'll be interesting to see who is able to take the win next week. You know, really good racing tonight. I can't wait to see how they bring it to this track and see who's able to take the victory, because honestly, it could be anybody's race with how it was going tonight, Justin.
Once again, the coverage for the next race is going to be February 21st. 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the start for that action for the Mystic Racing League from California. But it's just about time to say goodbye here for tonight's racing action. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in for tonight's racing for the Mystic Racing League here on VSPEED. I'd like to thank all the partners as well, and that includes Show It Off for their support of this series. Also like to thank THDesigns for their support, along with Wade Cycles and Sofa News for all the support they show to this series. It's time to say goodbye for tonight's action. For Nicholas and for our producer DJ Lyon, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching the Mystic Racing League from iRacing's virtual Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Congratulations to your race winner, Colin Bollinger. He comes away with the win at our first short track race of the season.